Hi guys, Stevenson at Homes by Sun with Remax. Hope you guys had a great March break. Got out and do something with your kids, family, whatnot, or you had a restful week. And we're back again to talk about the real estate market the week before, March 12th to the 18th. If you've heard, a lot of news report lately have been saying that the market has been slower. This is what we've been finding as well. It's a little bit slower, but also because of the March break and this arrival of spring. Maybe people have something else on their mind that they want to take care of instead of looking for properties. And definitely the interest rate increase may have had something to do with the motivation to buy a house right now for a lot of the buyers, or buyer fatigue as well. So let's run through the numbers for the week before. And also today I wanted to talk about during the course of a purchase, you are going to run into chattels and fixtures. If you're a seller or buyer, how do you differentiate them? What kind of items you can take as a seller, and what kind of things you can expect to be left behind if you're the buyer. So we'll do that at the end. Right now, let's just let me just share my screen so we can take a look at the numbers. Okay, so let me put this here. All right, so we are looking at the numbers in the Greater Toronto Area, GTA, and that including Durham, Halton, Peel, York, and Toronto. Let me just get my pen. I think I gotta go there. There we go. Get my pen there. So this is where we are looking at. Now, as I predicted the week before, or last week's video, there was a drop in the number of listings. So this past week, we had 2,300 listings versus the week before, 2,700, which was also down from the peak of 2,900 listings across the whole GTA that came out on the market. Now, a lot of these properties are relist properties. And what that means is they didn't sell on offer night, or they didn't get the price that they want, and they have been relisted. So the overall actual new inventory will be less than this number. The 2,300 includes relist from the weeks before. So if we look at this line here, it's been trending downwards because of the holiday or sellers not getting the price that they want. A number that we always keep an eye out of is how many property transaction actually sold over asking, to determine how strong still is the market. So there were about 1,300 transactions last week, and out of that, 80% were still going over asking. Now, obviously, the actual number of transactions going over asking is down. So it's in line with the market as a whole. There are less buyers in the market right now, but anything that is reasonably priced or desirable property are still getting sold. And if we look at the average sale price, so this is the column for average sale price, and we can see down here, it's been trending downward as well. There were some large transactions that happened, but majority of the transaction between 1.5 million to 2.5 million did not occur. So kind of brought down the average home price for the week. So it's down, I would say, about 10%, 10%-ish from the week before. And the week before is down about 5% or 3 or 4% from the week previous. So overall, we're looking at it maybe like an average of 15% drop in the last couple of weeks, which is a drop from the peak of the market. So it's still year over year, it's still not bad. We're maybe back to somewhat of early January pricing. And what I'm going to predict is in the coming weeks, the amount of inventory is going to increase. And with more inventory, because like I said, a lot of these properties are relist, with more inventory, we may see an uptick in the number of transactions, and hopefully it will bring up the average home price. But right now, it's pretty stable. A lot of properties are still getting a lot of showings, but if you find something that is on the market for more than 7 days, it's still on the market, there's a good chance that you can get it for a good discount. And so it's still a great market to be in as a buyer. On the condo side, we had also so this side is the condo side, and we had decline in the number of new listings. So only 782. This is talking about Toronto. So condominium apartment high rises, low rise, and townhouses. It's all in here. And 782 new listings, 516 transactions, and out of that, 76% are selling over asking. Condo market is still very strong. We're still seeing record number of transaction overall, and we're still seeing multiple offer happening all the time, because a majority of the condos are below 1 million, and under 1 million, a lot of buyers can do a high ratio mortgage, which gives them some flexibility in terms of giving a higher offer. So anything over anything around 1 million is still very desirable. If we look at the average price, hasn't really gone down. It's been going up. So condo is catching up to a lot of the lower end freehold townhomes. The prices are slowly creeping up to that point. So if you're in the market and you want to look at freehold townhome, but you can't find any that you like, you could consider condo townhouse as well for a little bit less money. You do have to pay a condo fee, which is one downside, but majority of that portion of the condo fee goes towards the maintenance of the complex. If you don't like doing gardening, if you don't like doing snow removal outside yourself, it may be an option for you to get into the market by buying a condo townhouse. So the numbers this week, I would say it's in line with the market would have happened over a March break period. Agents going away, sellers going away. With people who are coming back now from their vacation, we should see a little bit more demand in the market. Buyers coming back, they're going out to looking at properties again. Sellers are back and they're ready to put their house up for sale. So in the next couple of weeks, I'm hoping, or I'm estimating, that we are going to see a increase in the number of inventory, increase in number of transactions, and the slight increase of average home price in the next week or so. Let's take a look at the rental side. We didn't touch on that last week, but I did the data for the rental side. So in the rental side, this is the number of, the blue line is the number of new listings, and the orange line is number of transactions. I would say it's still very balanced. When there are more listings, there are more transactions. When there are less listings, there are less transactions. So it shows me that, you know, the supply and demand is in balance. There are properties for people to rent, and there are tenants out there. What I've heard is a lot of people who moved out of the core, let's say into Durham, are now considering renting a unit in downtown Toronto for their back to work. A lot of offices are demanding that people actually go back to the office in person. So that's creating a sort of batch of tenant who own a property outside of Toronto, but want something for the week. So they're coming back to as a tenant. So in the next week or so, I think the rental market will be a little bit more busy as people head back to work in person. And also students are coming back and all that. So the rental market, especially in Toronto, should rise accordingly. Rental prices as a whole for different category have been pretty stable. One bedrooms are around $2,000. You maybe will find them for $1,900, $1,850. 1+1 are around $2,200, and then $2,800, and just over $3,000 for 2+1 bedroom. So that's kind of the rental market, quite stable, quite balanced. Nothing to worry about. I think there's still going to be more properties put up for lease in the next little while. Although I am hearing many landlords are looking at the rent and it's not able to cover their expenses, which has risen much more than what rentals are allowed to increase for the past year. So they are putting their property up for sale instead of lease. We shall see in the next little while to see if the supply diminishes and the demand increases, then it may push up the rental prices. So that's the market for the previous week. And I want to jump into our topic for this week, which is chattels versus fixtures. So basically, what can a seller take with them on closing, and what do they have to leave behind? So the question goes both ways for sellers as well as for buyers. Like I said, what can buyers expect to be left behind? A lot of these chattels and fixtures should really already been addressed in the agreement of purchase and sale. However, for a lot of the homes, there are just too many parts to be included as a in the agreement purchase sale, like different components. And if something is not specified in the agreement of purchase and sale, does it mean it can be taken? So let's take a look at what the definitions are. So chattels are all tangible personal property that aren't real estate or fixtures. Books, a bed, a couch, a computer are all examples of chattels. So basically, in a sense, chattels are personal belongings, something that the owner owns, and it's not there as a function for anything related to the property they're buying. I'll show you some examples, but just keep in mind, chattels, it's basically personal belongings. They may be attached to the property, but they do not form part of the property, and you shall see. All right, so let's look at definition of a fixture. A fixture is an object that has been fastened, otherwise attached to a property in such a way that it becomes part of the property. Clear example of a fixtures are fireplaces, doors, counters. These are things that sometimes they are movable, but they are part of the feature of a home. The home must have doors, or usually should have doors. Home, if there's a fireplace there, most likely it wasn't put there as a decorative piece meant to be taken to another place. It's there to function to provide warmth or provide atmosphere lighting. So it's part of the home. And so that definitely, it is also possible that something is a fixture, even if it isn't attached to a property, if it's very heavy or is intended to become part of the property. I'll give you an example is kitchen islands. A lot of the kitchen islands are not fixed to the floor. They sit on the tile. They can be moved around, but because the kitchen island is part of the kitchen, no one puts a kitchen island as a decorative purpose. Kitchen island has a function. Its function is part of the cabinet of the kitchen. So that's why even if it's not attached to the property, it needs to stay. So I have a few common debatable object or items that a lot of buyers and sellers are confused whether that is considered a chattels or fixture. So I'll run down the example. Smart thermostat. So a lot of people it's very popular now to install a smart thermostat so they can control the temperatures on their phone. These include Nest, Ecobee, many other brands. So is that a chattel or fixture? Smart door locks, like August lock, Samsung lock. There are various types of smart door locks. Some of them are very easily installed. They just attach to the original thumb turn. So are these, chattels or fixtures? What about wall mount TV? TVs that, people now are mounting TVs as a picture display. So these are very thin profile TV with a very thin wall mount that goes on a wall, and it just displays pictures like a digital picture frame. So are those chattels or fixtures? What about hot tub? Many people over COVID have purchased a hot tub as part of their backyard. Now, hot tubs come in various different configuration or types. Some just sit there. Some are more built-in, bolted down with electrical because they're heated. They have lights. They have all this fancy stuff. So are these hot tubs chattels or fixtures? What about smart light switches? Lutron switches are popular. There Insteon switches are also popular. A lot of these smart light switches allows the owner to control their lighting within their home. But when they sell the house, can they take them? Can they just simply take them and swap with a dumb switch? Is that allowed? What about drapes? We know that a lot of drapes are hung on. They're not fixed to the window. They're not fixed to the curtain rod. It can be easily removed, easily taken down. So what about drapes? Are they fixtures or chattels? All right, so let's run through them. Number one, smart thermostat, they are fixtures. Smart thermostat, they form a function of the whole HVAC system. They're there to control the HVAC system. And because during showing, it's there, and if it's not specifically excluded, the smart thermostat forms part of the HVAC system, the heating, ventilation, AC system, and it's used to control that. So therefore, it is a fixture unless excluded. So if you want to take your thermostat, smart thermostat, you better either swap it before you list the property, or specify in the schedule that it is not part of the sale and it is to be excluded. Same thing with smart door lock. The smart door lock is there to open the door, to control the lock. So it forms part of the door. You can't have a door without a lock and without a mechanism to turn the lock. So any smart door lock have to be excluded as well. And they're a lot of times they're not decorative, they perform a function. So same thing with smart thermostat. If you want to take them with you after the sale, you have to exclude them. Otherwise, they form as part of the overall property. Now, wall-mounted TVs are considered chattels. Even though they are mounted on the wall, They're mounted on the wall because of the necessity to for them to function on their own. You can't really, it is not feasible for a lot of areas to just have a TV sitting on a counter or on a TV stand. A lot of areas like a hallway, pass-through, you don't have a furniture for the TV to sit on, so you hang it on the wall. Because even though it's hung on the wall, it can be easily taken down. And also the bracket is part of the mechanism to hang the TV, so it is not part of the fixture. So as far as the real estate is concerned, by taking the bracket, you are not affecting the use of the property. So therefore, that can be taken. It's chattel. Hot tub is debatable. Some hot tubs do not actually get fixed to the concrete or anything. They just sit there. So these are probably the lower end ones that can be considered as chattel. But the higher end ones, the ones that are actually fixed to the patio with electrical wire, with oftentimes with the gas line, if it's self-heated or with lights and all that. So these are considered as fixtures. And if you are moving, if you're a seller, you're moving and you're saying, oh, I want the hot tub in my new home, you better take that with you and exclude it from the agreement of purchase and sale. So hot tub is debatable depending on the setup. Smart light switches, definitely a fixture. If you want to take the whole system, because listen, if you take away the switch, lights don't work. And because they are installed as part of the lighting system, you can't simply just take them. Now, like I said before, as with other smart items, if you want to take them to your new home, because these switches aren't cheap, the Lutron ones, I think they were like $60, $70 each. If you count the number of light switches in the home, they could add up to be like $4,000 or $5,000 easily. So if you want to take them, exclude them from the sale and make sure you say that they will be replaced with normal switches. Drapes are actually chattels. So a lot of agents may be confused that because they wrote the window covering, that the drapes are to be included. I would always suggest that if anybody is confused or not sure, always write in that window covering and all curtain and drapes are to be included in part of sale, because window covering would just mean maybe the roller shade or whatever that is fixed to the frame of the window, that is a fixture. But a lot of drapes are not actually fixed to the property, and by removing them, it doesn't really affect the use of the property, and that's why these should be specified clearly in the APS what is to be included. So in summary, if you're not sure, always write it in the agreement purchase and sale, whether you're a seller or buyer. You're not sure something you can take or something should be included, write it down. Any chattels not written is deemed not to be included. So if there is an item that you think might be a chattel, but it's not written in there, and on closing, you're the buyer and it's gone, it is to be expected. Seller needs to exclude fixtures, special lights, hot tub, door locks, and things like that. Like I said before, if you're a seller, you don't want something to be included, exclude it in the agreement purchase and sale. And replace with a non-smart functional unit, either before or after the agreement is done. And make sure that both sides know what's going on. If you remove the non-smart functional unit before the sale, that's fine. It's not expected to be included. The buyers are buying whatever they see. But if you had it in all of the virtual tour on the photos, that you had these smart switches, and all of a sudden on closing day, they're all swapped out, you may be in trouble. The buyers can, with the photos, with evidence, they took photos themselves during their showings, they could come back and demand that these to be put back into the house because they're part of the sale. So don't swap included items. And that's it. Hope that was a little bit of a tidbit for buyers and sellers. And if you have any questions at all regarding what I said, more than welcome to email me below. My email address and phone number should be below. And again, it's Stevenson at Homes by Sun with Remax, and I will be back next week to go over the market data for this week again. Thanks so much for watching. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.